Let's Get Down to Business is presented by Bravo, the marketing arm of Ash Brokerage Corporation, the practice enhancement company.
All this week is our holiday tribute to charitable giving. And on today's show, the Asset Replacement Trust. And with me today is certified financial planner and nationally recognized charitable giving expert, Dan Najito. Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Welcome to the show, Dan.
3 days in a row.
Day 3, and you're doing all right. Well, listen, we're talking about everybody. If you haven't seen the front end of our this week's show, you need to go back out, watch Monday and Tuesday show, because we're kind of building here so that your tutorial process, your learning curve is really good and you really understand what we're talking about. Now, it's funny, we get done yesterday talking about taxes and all the tax issues. We just touched on, remember, we've just touched on the surface. We're just trying to do an introduction. But what happens when I give away all this and my heirs say, what happened here? We did this great job, but now I feel like I'm getting shorted. Talk about asset replacement trust, because I think that's where everybody wants to go. In fact, I think I got a little script on that.
Look what you did here.
Yeah, I got creative.
It's pretty clever.
Again, it's Backroom Technician.
Yeah. This is the thing behind the charitable remainder trust concept, where I'm going to give a gift to charity, but I'm not going to give it today. I'm going to set it up today, and it's going to go to charity at some point in time. Now, that point in time could be 10 years, 20 years, or at the end of my life, or at the end of the joint lives of me and my wife. So, but eventually it's going to go to charity. We know that. We also know that when we give that gift to charity in a charitable remainder trust, that I could change the charity up until the day I die. So I have a lot of control here. I could change it from one charity to another. I can change percentages. And I can also make that charity my own family foundation or donor advised fund. So it doesn't have to go away to charity. It can stay inside a charitable entity like a family foundation or donor advised fund, and I can continue to manage it myself. My children, my grandchildren can stay involved with my philanthropy. But that is all going to charity. We don't want to disinherit our heirs. And that's when you want to do all this great planning to make yourself feel, good about what your passion is. But if your kids hate you because you disinherited them, it kind of defeats the purpose. So what we do is we take some of this money that we put into the charitable remainder trust, and two things are going to happen when we set up that chart. Well, a bunch of things are going to happen, but two big things. One, I'm going to get an income tax deduction for the present value of the future gift. It's a calculation. Let's assume it's going to be 25 to 30% of the gift. Okay. So I put $1 million in, I get a $250,000 tax deduction. $100,000, I get a $25,000 tax deduction. That's the first thing. The second thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get some kind of cash flow coming back from that charitable remainder trust. Now that cash flow will be greater than what I put in because I've sold my appreciated stock, I've increased my income level on it. And what we want to do with some of that cash flow and some of the tax savings is we want to buy enough life insurance, and it could be held in an irrevocable life insurance trust, but with the increased tax levels now, credit levels,
unified credit is huge.
Yeah. So, but the bottom line is, I'm going to use some of the new cash flow to buy a life insurance policy so that when the charitable trust goes to my charities at my death, a like amount, tax-free, will go to my heirs. And look, they don't want your business. They don't want your stock. They want the money. Show me the money. So what happens is the kids wind up with a big tax-free bucket of cash. Charity winds up with a phenomenal gift, and you've got a legacy, a charitable legacy, and you've got a beautiful income tax deduction.
Now you've been doing this so long. Dan, how many people always want to make sure that they replace the gift that they give? What would you say? Is it half of your donors?
Oh no, I would say it's probably more like 75 to 80%.
So it's high. So they do want to give this away to the charity,
Sure.
but they want to make their heirs whole.
When you're going to get involved with split interest giving, which is really where I live. I mean, that's people don't need me if they want to give them a gift to charity.
They can just write a
They
check.
write a check. But if they want to do something more creative, like sell their business, they can do that through a charitable remainder trust. You can sell your business on a tax deductible basis. That's pretty cool. But you could do all of this stuff and then run it through your charitable remainder trust. They want to give the kids their replacement value back. And it also enhances future giving for the family. It inspires them to do their own philanthropy ongoing.
When you think about leveraging or replacing, I'm thinking second to die in survivorship. How big is that number?
Hence the title, Power of Leveraging a Charitable Remainder Trust, which you did not plug today.
Here's but let's just get it over with right now. We're talking about Dan's book, The Power of Leveraging the Charitable Remainder Trust, and part of that is asset replacement.
And you leverage what you're doing though is you're leveraging a $100,000 gift to create $100,000 for charity and maybe $400,000 or $500,000 for your kids. That's leverage. That's power, and that happens only through the charitable remainder trusts and the cash flow used to buy life insurance. Second to die. Best way to replace that asset.
Now, when I see the leverage, really any kind of client that's anywhere near being standard issue or whatever, you're going to see some serious leverage, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 sometimes. It's really important to look at second to die as a gift replacement.
Absolutely, and you don't have to be the one insured. If you're uninsurable, you could pick a spouse or even another family member and set it up as a retirement plan for them. There's a lot of nuance to this.
When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about life insurance and charitable plans. And don't forget, you can go out to Dan's site and buy his book, The Power of Leveraging the Charitable Remainder Trust, right out at www.najito.com. And while you're online, sign up for your own 30-day free trial offer from Backroom Technician. Just go out to brtnow.com/trialsignup.aspx. We'll be right back after the break. Back in the day, life insurance professionals were called field underwriters. Then, carriers trained their field force in the basics of life insurance underwriting. Today, the insurance industry doesn't educate the agent population as they once did. But now you can have the Informed Risk Guide at your fingertips so you can illustrate a reasonable rate class for your life insurance prospects. Just request your copy of the Informed Risk Guide at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. It's free from Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back, everyone. I'm Steve Savant with Dan Najito. And remember, you can watch all our episodes of Let's Get Down to Business and my weekly consumer show, Steve Savant's Money, The Name of the Game, right out at ashbrokerage.com. Just click on the show logo right on the home page. And just a heads up, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always consult your tax advisor, your legal counsel, as well as your broker-dealer compliance department. Well, let's get down to business. We're talking about life insurance and charitable plans. Dan, I like the idea of using second to die. We talked about this in the first segment. And sometimes we have to use, you kind of touched on this. Did I hear a word surrogate insured or a substitute insured?
Yeah, sure.
Because you said, hey, maybe I don't need to take the people that are actually the grantors on this.
Well, a lot of times what we'll do with the insurance piece is not use it as pure wealth replacement. We'll use it as a income replacement. We'll do a deferred income stream from an insurance policy where, like, grandfather will set up a charitable remainder trust. Cash flow will fund an insurance policy on the adult child. Grandfather's not insurable anymore, maybe 85 years old. Adult child may be in his 40s or 50s. He's the insured, not the grandfather, but the benefit, and he gets to build up the cash value, but the ultimate death benefit goes to the grandchildren. So you can cross 2 or 3 generations on a gift like that. You don't have to be the insured. Traditional wealth replacement you do, but you don't always have to be the insured.
Now, even if I did have to use the grantors for whatever reason, I mean, some of these second to dies, they take full declinable. I mean, a full uninsurable person could be on there.
I've done it, Steve. I've had so many situations. I had a situation where a person had, was a really great case. It was a $5 million block of stock that they had a $100,000 basis in. And it was one of these super home runs. And it was only getting a 1% dividend. So the client came to me and he said, I'm stuck. I'm getting this lousy income off of this big holding, and I can't afford to sell it because I'll get killed in capital gains tax. We put the block of stock into the charitable remainder trust. He got an income tax deduction based upon the $5 million value of the stock. We didn't put the whole $5 million in, we put about $2.5 million in. He got a tax deduction on that. The stock he sold in the charitable remainder trust avoided the tax on capital gain. 0 tax. He then got income at the tune of 6% a year, which was 6 times what he was getting. And with that, we used about $300,000 to buy a life insurance policy, second to die, to replace that trust. Do you know what his comment to me was? I'd be an idiot not to do this. I mean, you would have to be, because he increased his income. We gave him tax-free income to his benefit to his family. We got him a tax deduction. He was living large. I mean, and the tax deduction from creating the charitable remainder trust washed the tax on the stock he sold outside the charitable trust. I mean, tremendously dynamic tool.
I want to shift gears a bit. What if, I've seen this a lot, and I'm not really sure which is the way to go. I want to give a life insurance policy to a charity, or I want to buy it. Do I buy it first, then give it? Do I have them create it, own it day one, and pay premiums that are deductible? I've seen a lot of people who don't have big money, but they wouldn't mind paying premiums to get a big pop, $500,000, $1 million to their charity or their favorite religious organization. Which is the way to go on that?
Well, people do that all the time, and really there is no right or wrong answer to this. I mean, if you have an existing life insurance policy and you give it to the charity, let's be clear, you get a tax deduction on the surrender value of the policy, not on the face amount of the policy. Other clients say, why can't I get a tax deduction? They're going to get $1 million gift. Well, they're not. You're giving them a gift that has, so you're getting your tax deduction based upon that. If you continue to make gifts to the charity, then the gifts that now the charity has to own the life insurance policy. When the charity owns the life insurance policy with no strings attached, so it has to be for the use of charity. I make my contribution to the charity, they turn around and they use that and pay the life insurance premium. That's a full deductible gift at the 50% level. So that's a cash gift. If you own the life insurance policy and continue to make premium payments on the life insurance policy on behalf of the charity, you have to be very, very careful, because that can wind up being only a gift of 30% of your adjusted gross income. So the bottom line is this: if you're going to give a life insurance policy to charity, give it to them, and then write the check. And here, if the premium's $5,000 a year, you write that $5,000 to charity, and you say, use this to pay the premium on the life insurance policy. Don't force them to pay the premium on the insurance policy. Now, they can choose to use that money to pay for the premium, or they could choose not to. They'd be idiots if they left the policy lapse, because this policy is worth, maybe worth, 50 times what you're giving them. But you can't restrict that use by the charity.
So if I started out today and I was going to do a brand new policy, the charity should own it day one?
Well, you could buy the policy and then give it to them, and that's fine.
So there's no real yin and yang on that?
As long as you don't say to the charity, here's $5,000 for the premium on that policy, or you pay the premium on that policy.
So there's no directive here?
Right. Give it to the charity. Tell them, we all know how it's done. Here's a check. Pay my life insurance premium with it. They're the owners and beneficiaries of the policy.
And you said at the beginning of the segment, 80% of most of the people you deal with at this level of charitable giving are really replacing these assets with life insurance.
Absolutely. It's the way to make, it's the perfect scenario. Tax deduction, avoided the tax on capital gain, a legacy, charitable legacy, and replace that value tax-free to my heirs. You can't beat that combination.
Well, that's our show for today. Remember, you can read all my online news commentary, advisor blogs, and articles on Producers Web, as well as my answers to consumer questions on the Insurance Library. You can also view all our past episodes on our on-demand section located at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. So follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, or just email me, steves.savant@ashbrokerage.com. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. Happy holidays, everyone.